Hey, business building warrior, Jim Cockrum here, and this is Silent Sales Machine Radio, the podcast that features hundreds of interviews with successful students of the proven Amazon course training systems behind this show. That's right. It's the only show in all of e-commerce that brings you student after student after student saying, wow, the system works. Here's what I've built. Here's my business. Here's my numbers. Here's my strategies. Here's how you can do it too. That's what we do around here. So thanks for helping make this show one of the top 20 most popular e-commerce shows in the world, according to some recent awards that we've won. That's on you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part. What I'm going to bring you today is yet another guest. Let me just break down a few of the details of her story. She's been with us about a year, but she started taking it seriously a few months ago. She's on course. Her goal for 2026 is to sell about $100,000 at around 19 to 20% net profit margins as an Amazon reseller using 3P Mercury and our coaching program. She's got a lot to share, a lot of details. She really dives in deep today. You're going to pick up some great tips if you're a fan of the show. If you're new around here, this is yet another incredible example of the kinds of success stories that we're seeing over and over again all day around here. This steadily growing blue ocean of opportunity that is Amazon reselling. We've demonstrated time and time again that there are at any given time millions, if not tens of millions, of popular products on Amazon that are either understocked or completely unstocked. That's the Amazon reselling opportunity. You'll hear our guest Heidi today say that she runs out of money to spend on inventory way before she runs out of great products that she could be buying. Now, she had to build her business to that point. It took a little bit of time, but she's tracking 40,000 products at this time. She's sold hundreds of those products successfully and profitably, and there's many, many, many more that she intends to sell in the future as she scales into this business. That's the business model. It's not rocket science. It does take a little bit of training. It does take a little bit of commitment to the process, but our team is the best in the world with the best tools, the most experience, and the largest community of successful students doing what we teach in the world. No one else comes close. You found the right place if you're looking for a low risk, low cost, low barrier to entry, high odds of success e-commerce business model with a very bright future. Amazon is building dozens of warehouses at any given time. Millions of shoppers are getting faster and faster options available to them, and those warehouses just don't have enough inventory in them. That's the opportunity. Today's guest, Heidi, is yet more evidence that what we're teaching around here really works. You're going to love this time. We mentioned our upcoming conference a couple of times today. I just wanted to highlight that before we jump into the interview. The Proven Conference happens in August of 2026. That's August 25th, 26th, and 27th. If your money's tight, we've got scholarships. We'd love to have you come. You need to be there and experience this. We can make it a very low cost thing for you. Just pay for travel. We want you there to come be around tens of thousands of people at a massive trade show where we are the e-commerce training experts on site with thousands of your fellow e-commerce warriors and Amazon sellers in the mix. It's going to be an incredible event. Hundreds of listeners to this podcast will be there. You've got to come. Theprovenconference.com is the website. All right, all of the resources that we mentioned on today's show, there's links in the show notes. You don't have to furiously write down notes, but just listen and enjoy this conversation with a coaching student who's crushing it, on track to do some really big things in 2026. And I think she's got a lot of leadership future potential as well. She just loves this stuff. She's doing great. Let's go over and spend some time with Heidi. Enjoy. So Heidi, welcome to the podcast. Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you carving out the time, and I'm excited to get into your story. If you're ready to do that, let's go. The ball's in your court.
Sure. So I actually originally got into e-commerce when my children were pretty little. So I'm going to age myself. That was back in the early 2000s, and I was selling on eBay, and I really enjoyed it. However, the more little ones I had running around, kind of the harder it was for me to get things shipped out and stay on top of things. So I kind of just decided, okay, this isn't the season for me.
How many kids do you have now?
I have four.
Four. What's the ages?
Well, now they're all grown. So my oldest is 28 and the youngest is 21.
Got you. But they grew up with mom doing e-commerce.
They did, yeah.
It
And they were
sounds a lot
kind of,
like our household, boxes
yeah,
and shipping and everything. That's all they ever knew.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes they're very helpful, and sometimes they're more like I called them speed bumps, slowing everything down. But they thought they were helping, so that
Oh,
that was
sure.
always
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
You find creative ways to plug them into the business. And did they develop, I'm curious, not to derail us this early, but did any of them develop an entrepreneurial spirit from seeing
Um,
what you do?
Absolutely, and we can touch on that a little bit later. But
Cool.
my son got his degree in computer science, and so I have put him to work. He's designing some applications to help me automate my business.
Wow.
So kind of came full circle.
That's yes. The apple didn't fall far from the tree kind of thing with our family too. Very entrepreneurial thinking kids and
Mhm.
the benefits of having a business under the roof. A topic for a later segment, maybe, but let's keep it rolling. Sorry to interrupt.
Sure. Sure. No, no problem. So like I said, I kind of fell back into it by chance. I think I saw one of your Facebook ads
Oh, okay.
and I previously had a marketing business. So I should probably say my W-2 job right now is human resources, but that's part-time remote. I've been part-time remote for about 4 years.
Okay.
So at that time, I started an online marketing venture, and I really enjoyed it. However, I was kind of looking for something that I could be a little more hands off when I needed to. When you're handling marketing for someone else's business, at least with my personality, I was eating, sleeping, breathing, wanting these other businesses to succeed, and it just really took a lot out of me. So I think I saw your Facebook ad was how I first kind of dipped my toe in. And I thought, okay, this is something that between automating, having other people help out, or just literally taking a vacation and being able to step away, that was the kind of business I really was craving.
Yeah.
So
Spoken
that's
like a
kind of
true
how
eBay seller. I did the eBay grind. It's like, oh no, something sold. Oh no, I forgot to turn off my listings while you're on vacation. Like, someone please go to my house and find this $4 item in the garage on the
right,
third.
right, right.
You're always tied to it.
And FBA solved all of
It
that.
does. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was what appealed to me about this kind of new, 20-year later business model. So that's kind of how I got back into it.
Fantastic. Okay, so you found the course, you jumped in. How long ago
Mhm.
was this?
So I did the Kickstart program with Robin Joy, and I think that was maybe in March of 2025. And that it was what led me then to go ahead and register for the conference last year.
Got you. So you came to our conference in Florida.
I did. And I was a total newbie. I had sent in, my one unit during Kickstart because that was I really highly recommend Kickstart. Any new listeners, it helps you kind of break through that fear of going through all those steps the very first time, finding your first product, buying it, setting up that first shipment, because Amazon's great, but some of that stuff is so not intuitive, at least to me, that
Yeah.
having that hand holding really helps.
Yeah.
And then you've done it. You've
Yes.
broken that barrier and you've gotten that first product in.
Yeah. No, since you mentioned it, I'll stick a link in the show notes today. silentjimdotcom/kickstart is the link. It's for any of our students, any proven Amazon course student that wants. My favorite way to sum it up is you want to turn those initial mountains into molehills.
Mhm.
There's like, oh no, how am I going to do that? Like, oh no, no big deal. Put the tape on the box and send it, right? So
Yeah.
we talk you through this first few, doing one iteration of buying something and sending it in. Like, well, that wasn't that bad. But the first
Right.
time you do it, it's very intimidating. Yeah. So that's what Kickstart does. Yeah. Excellent.
Yes.
I'm glad you mentioned that. And yeah,
Yeah.
Robin Joy's been doing that for quite some time. She is the foundation of a lot of success stories around here. That she's the
Absolutely.
first person
Yeah.
that a lot of students encounter.
Mhm. So, like I said, I had sent in that first product. I went to the conference. So I was a total newbie. I think I had just signed up for 3P Mercury
Mhm.
because having spent all that time trying to source and trying to figure out what I was gated in, I saw very quickly that I was forgetting what I had looked at last week.
Mhm.
And then as I would learn things or I would get ungated, I would wish I still had those leads handy. I wasn't doing a great job of keeping track.
Yes,
So
such a classic problem. And people solve that typically with spreadsheets.
mhm.
But then you end up with 100, 500, 800, 2,000 ASINs on a spreadsheet. And you're like, when am I going to go back and look at all those again? That's a big reason
Right.
3P Mercury was created. Yeah. And you discovered it
Right.
very quickly. Right.
Yeah. As soon as I saw that it was dynamic and it was going to help me keep track of when the price maybe went up, or the selling price went up, or, any of that stuff, or when I
Do a
got
buy price
gated.
even. It tracks that too. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So went to conference, total newbie, and learned so much more in just that few days that I think I would have learned in another year doing it, on my own. So really enjoyed that experience. I ended up signing up for coaching while I was at the conference. There were lots of bonuses
Yep.
that were added, so that made it kind of a no-brainer. I already really knew from the marketing business that I had started before that there's really no reason to reinvent the wheel. If you can have somebody who's already done the thing and become successful help you along with the steps, it just accelerates everything and makes it so much better. The thing that I love about the coaches and my proactive coach is Cassidy and my reactive coach is Gail, and they're awesome. Just having the ability to ask them some of them are dumb questions, but they would never say that, and prevent me from going down a rabbit hole for 2 or 3 days trying to figure it out myself is it's night and day. It's a huge difference when you're, especially like I said, some of the things are just not intuitive until you've done it a few times, and they've done it a few times. So they usually immediately can lead me in the right direction. So
Yeah. And none of it's rocket science, but you can find yourself kind of wandering around aimlessly and just kind of getting stuck in, the YouTube maze and, rat race of, is this current information or not? I don't know. Am I doing this right? But you talk to someone who's been doing this at scale for a long time and keeping current. Yeah, you're reassured. It gives you that confidence boost. That's part of the tremendous value of having that mentor.
absolutely.
What
Yes.
coaching is. It's that mentor, is someone who's been there, done that, and doing it currently.
Right. Yep.
I love it.
Exactly.
I'm glad you've taken advantage of that, and it sounds like it's been helpful to you.
Absolutely. And the other thing that I kind of first noticed it at conference is just the spirit of abundance.
Mhm.
That even though technically all of us are competing with each other, we
Mhm.
really aren't. Everyone wants to help everyone else succeed. And just the generosity, whether it's time or knowledge, or like I said, answering questions or just kind of going above and beyond, that's a great thing to find in a business building community because it gets hard sometimes, especially when all of us are working remotely. Having that camaraderie helps a lot.
Agreed. It's one of my favorite topics, and it's probably one of the most frequent recurring themes. If you somehow were able to listen to all 1,100 plus podcast episodes, how many times did Jim talk about community, culture, abundance, right? The whole analogy of cake versus candlelight. If you've never heard that, I'm not going to go into it right now. I've mentioned it many, many times, but the difference between abundance and scarcity, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I love working with previous business owners like you. You've been through the trenches. You know what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have never tried to run a business before at all. And they come here and they're like, well, I thought I was supposed to push a bunch of buttons and the money flows into my bank account. They don't understand like blood, sweat, tears, risk, work required. And to
Absolutely.
surround yourself with people who have an abundance mindset, meaning if I help you, that just makes the room brighter for all of us, that candlelight mentality, right?
Right.
A cake
Yep.
that we're all trying to devour before anyone else can get to peace. But we're trying to make the room brighter. And we have the benefit, Heidi, I just want to point out, without going too far rabbit trail down this line of thinking, that it sure helps when we're swimming in a blue ocean that's growing rapidly. We are competing with other fishermen on the same ocean,
Mm-hmm.
but it's so full of fish. And the ocean's growing so fast. It's like, yeah, I'll tell you the tips of what I learned because there's opportunity. There's tens of millions of underserved products at any
Hmm.
given time. We can help each other find those.
Right.
So, yeah, I love the culture that's been built here. It's like a family. There's many people who start off reselling, move away from reselling into another model, but still
Hmm.
come to our events and conferences because this is family. It's a
Right.
friendships,
Yeah.
the camaraderie, and
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
so glad you experienced that. And
Yes.
you're planning to come to our conference in August too, before I turn it back.
I am. That was one of my bonuses last year for signing up for coaching was that I got a ticket this year.
Yep.
So absolutely very excited about that. I think it'll be quite a bit different being in Vegas. So I'm excited to kind of see that the trade show that's going on and how that kind of all fits together.
Yeah, the little mini commercial, theprovenconference.com. Check it out. It's late August 2026. There's going to be thousands of Amazon sellers there, hundreds from our community. It's going to be very different. It's
Mhm.
interesting to partner up with an already established trade show. There's 40 to 50,000 people at this trade show. We
Right.
are the e-commerce education wing of the event, like an official partner with the event this year. It's going to be interesting to see. Very different from what you experienced last year. Much
Yeah.
bigger, but we
Yeah.
won't let you get lost in the crowd. It's going to be
Okay.
Our community is going to be very easy to find. We have our whole area kind of segmented off right next to the main activities, and it's going to be a blast. So glad you can come. What
Yeah.
lessons would you say you picked up besides the culture? You said you moved your business forward like a year in a few days. Give me some specifics. Like, what do you mean when you say that?
Well, I mean, I think I was just learning a lot of the fundamentals. I guess there's a difference. I've learned a lot from the course, don't get me wrong, but there's a difference when someone is speaking and telling how they apply all those principles and what they do in their business.
Right.
And even if I didn't necessarily want to do the same things that they were doing, just hearing their approach and their tips, I mean, I came home with pages and pages of notes, which I digitized, and I still go back and oh, someone was talking about that. I need to go see what tool they were using or what method they mentioned. Also, the relationships. I met people that I'm still in touch with, and that has led to other opportunities and I felt like it was a springboard
That's a great
to
word.
move me forward.
I
Yeah.
love that great
And
visual image.
yeah. And I set a goal, and I don't remember if it was something that someone challenged us in one of the sessions or if I came up with it on my own, but I decided I was going to send a shipment every week after conference
Hmm.
because consistency. I kept hearing consistency is so important. And it really is. So I really spent kind of the rest of last year sending a shipment every week. And I was really still kind of just sticking my toe in. A couple $100 a week was my budget for inventory and kind of learning what not to do and what was working well. I decided to go ahead and wrap up my marketing business. So I kind of finished out with the couple of clients that I had because I wanted to spend my time. Like I said, still do have a part-time job that
That
I'm
you
doing from
charge
home.
gig. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have, part-time availability for this business or the two businesses. So I phased out the marketing business and finished wrapping that up in January so that I could kind of dive in February. I got the opportunity through relationships, through coaching and relationships in the community to join a VA share. So we have two sourcing VAs that several of us share the leads. And I started ramping up my spending every week, still am actually. And that just made all the difference. I went from, I mean, I think in February, I maybe sold $2,000 or $3,000. And then by May, I had my first over 10,000 month. It was actually 11,000. So I was really
Nice.
excited about that. I think if I continue to increase my spend every week, this experience has shown it's just going to go up from there.
Yeah, absolutely. That consistent shipments, and we do say it, at least a shipment a week, guys. If you can
Mhm.
just do that at
Mhm.
whatever budget you can easily accommodate, finding test-worthy winning ASINs. It sounds like you're using 3P Mercury. I want to dive into that just a little bit more, see how plugged into that you are.
Yeah.
But what profit margins are you seeing? right now. You just had
Yeah.
a $11,000 month in May. We're still in
Mhm.
the kind of in the middle of June here, but what did you see?
Yeah. So Seller Board says that my margin was around 19 or 20%. I think reality, and my bookkeeping isn't done for May, but based on the trends I was seeing, it's probably closer to 15 after, my software subscriptions and my overhead.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. But so net profits of 15%,
Hmm.
a part-time business that you know
Yeah.
you could scale, buying inventory as your budget allows, sending in a shipment a week.
Yep.
Sounds like you've built the foundation. I love talking to students who are at that $10,000 in sales
Hmm.
level because you know all you need to know now to add commas and zeros.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's just budget, it's just investment. How rapidly do you want to step on the gas?
Yes.
And it really doesn't change your day-to-day routine a whole lot to change that $10,000 month to $50,000 month or an 80 or 100.
Hmm.
Just you're kind of doing the same thing with the
Right.
same systems you've already built. Just
Yep.
spending a little more money on inventory to step up the pace.
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, at this point, I'm getting a little overwhelmed with the shipping. So it's definitely time to start looking at prep center options.
Mm,
And I actually was considering if one of my children might be able to be my prep center. So that's a possibility too.
yep. Put them to work.
Yeah. So it's interesting because, like I said, every week that I scale up my spend, I can see that, and it takes a good month or two to see the result, when you make a change. But just like you said, then now I get to decide, okay, do I want to 3x that? Do I want to 10x that? Like, where do I want to end up? And that's a really cool thing about this business is, like you said, once you figure out what you're doing, and I don't know that I know all I need to know, but I've learned quite a bit.
Yeah,
Um,
there's always a little more to learn. There's always a few changes here and there, but it sounds like you're staying very diversified, which is the foundation. You've got the
mhm,
tools and the systems in place. How many
mhm.
hours a week would you say you're working? I know you said it's part-time, but let's put a
Yeah.
number to it.
I mean, I would probably say it stays around 20.
Okay.
Um, I do most of the shipping part on the weekend, so it may be a little more than that, but yeah, I'd say it's around 20.
Yeah. And as you scale to say $50,000 in sales a month as maybe a next goal, I'm just pulling a number out of the air, 30, 50, it's not going to require more time. Actually, if you get a prep center, it's going to require far less time.
Yeah.
All of this can be outsourced and handed off. You've built the foundation. So you're
Hmm.
sitting in a really good position to make some fun decisions. And it's whether you realize it or not, Heidi, it's opened up some other doors of opportunity for you already.
Absolutely.
Right. Have
Absolutely.
you discovered some of those? What have you noticed that other doors that are kind of starting to open for you that otherwise you might not have been aware of?
I mean, I think one of the things that I finally feel comfortable kind of looking at what the other opportunities are that kind of surround this business.
Mhm.
Well, two things. One of them is other opportunities within the business. Like, for example, one of the things I took notes on at conference last year was Amazon to Amazon flips and how all of that works. And I have not yet tried running ads, which is funny because I had a marketing business. It seems like I would have jumped right into that, but I haven't yet. So, kind of like all of the surrounding things. And would one of those things be something that I want to become an expert in and help other people do?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think there are a lot of, like you said, peripheral things that I want to learn more about and test out and see.
Beautiful. Yeah, you're thinking in the right direction. Those are ways to enhance what you already got going on, to build some more momentum, to diversify a little bit, start educating others. We're always looking for quality coaches and trainers and educators around here, and we pull from our own talent pool of successful students. Every coach you mentioned earlier, Cassidy and Gail, they both started off as clueless newbies,
Uh huh.
built beautiful businesses, had a teacher's heart. We said, hey, you want to teach a few other people to do what it is you're doing every day? Yeah,
Hmm.
sure. So as new tools like 3P Mercury have come along, same thing there, people doing sessions. My mom does 3P Mercury training sessions. She just nerds out and loves it.
Uh
She's
huh.
78 and she's just having a blast
Yeah.
and, helping people grow their businesses and running mine for me. So those are opportunities. Just
Hmm.
and the observation I've made, Heidi, and it sounds like you have no problem doing this, is the more people you get to know and the more relationships you build, the more conversations you have, the more these doors start to open up for you. People say,
Uh
hey, have
huh.
you tried this yet? Or, hey, here's how I got into wholesale, or here's how I got into Amazon to Amazon flips. And it just kind of
Right.
organically, as your list of names grows, the people you know, interact with, the opportunity doors just continue to open. And it sounds like
Yep.
that's the path you're on.
Yes, absolutely. And something I mentioned briefly in kind of our intro is that I have my son working on an application
Yeah.
and what he's doing right now. And of course, I don't want to monopolize all of his time, but I have lots of ideas. But what I had him start first was I felt like I was spending a lot of time in my email box because I do primarily OA.
Right.
So, I'm getting the purchase confirmation, I'm getting the shipping confirmation, I'm getting a tracking number. And what I was doing is, saving all of those as PDFs so that I have that documentation if I'm ever asked for it, and also for my bookkeeping. And I was like, hey, isn't there some way that, AI or somebody can do that for me? So that's what he's designing for me is
Cool.
an automation to go into my email inbox and take that off my plate. So I don't have to click, print, save as PDF, put it in the right folder, name the file, all that stuff. So,
Oh, that's neat. Yeah. What a good idea. Solid.
yeah. So the further we get with that, I have all these other ideas. Well, if we can do that, I bet we can do, so again, he's probably going to be like, listen.
It sounds like you're using 3P Mercury as well. You sound like a good creative source of like, hey, what about this feature? What about that? That tool has been built from crowdsourced suggestions. Have you made some
Yeah.
suggestions for that? I'm just guessing here, but it sounds
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I use the intercom all the time and ask questions and
exactly.
give suggestions. Yeah. And that's one of the other things that I want this automation to be able to do is go in and attach that documentation in 3P Mercury to the purchase orders, because that's another, necessary step. But at some point, it kind of feels like busy work. Like it's important, it needs to happen, but it doesn't necessarily have to be me doing it. So
Automate the important, right? Systemize the important so that you don't have to think about it and remember to do it. And
right. Yep.
yeah. Well, I'd like to transition, if it's okay, into how you're using 3P Mercury.
Sure.
Because it sounds like it's been a key component of what you've done so far. And just talk me through how you use it and what routines you have with it.
Like I said, I signed up for it pretty early, so I guess I don't really know how to do the business without it. So that's where I store all of the leads, even the ones I'm not even sure this will ever be great. Save it anyway, because I don't know. It could later get a lot more velocity. The price could go up. An influencer might talk about that product. You never know. So if if the brand matches and it's got those indicators, I go ahead and save those. And as I mentioned earlier, we do have sourcing VAs. So they give us a list of leads every day. I'm saving all of those. And for a little while, I was on a leads list. I think at this point, I have like 40,000 leads in 3P Mercury. So it's nice to be able to just play with the filters and say, okay, I want, this ROI, I want this many sales per month, show me what I already have. Especially the days when I maybe don't have time to go out and find there are plenty of new leads that I've already got saved.
Right.
So it saves me
that 40,000 and say, hey, what looks good today?
Yeah.
And get your list. What do you typically, when you go to buy that leads list of 40,000, which you've grown relatively quickly, it sounds like, what do you get back? What results are you seeing? Like as far as winners, like, oh, wow, I want to go buy that.
Oh, yeah, pages and pages. And and I've heard you say this several times, more than I could possibly buy. It's a matter of deciding, okay, what are my criteria going to be for what I'm going to buy? Exactly. Whereas
that's what we say, sourcing it really is solved. Just dump ASINs in, and the software will tell you when they're winners.
Yeah.
That's the shortest way to say it. Sometimes people don't believe it, but I love hearing it from the mouth of users, like pages of ASINs that look great. Hey, pardon the interruption for just a moment, but I've got to thank our sponsor, Seller Board. How do you know if you're making money online as a reseller? Seller Central will show you your revenue, but it doesn't capture all the details, the refunds, the shifting fees, changing supplier prices, overhead. Well, that's why a lot of smart sellers are using Seller Board. silentjim.com/numbers is where you can go to check them out. It's the profit analytics software that's built to keep your numbers straight. Sellerboard reconciles every sale and expense in real time. And with FIFO accounting, first in, first out, that means your profit reports stay accurate even when your cost of goods change from batch to batch. It now works with Walmart as well, so you can see your margins across both platforms all in one place. Here's the game changer as well for resellers. Sellerboard's new reseller workflow scans products in the store with the mobile app instantly. You can check out your profit potential, add items to your buy list, build offers, print labels, manage inbound FBA shipments, all while Sellerboard keeps the profit tracking accurate at every step. For just $15 a month and 2 months free trial, go to Sellerboard's website here, silentjimdotcom/numbers. It's the only way to get the 2 months free. silentjim.com/numbers. There'll be a link in the show notes as well. Understand your numbers today with Sellerboard, the accurate profit analytics software. Let's get back to today's episode.
Yeah.
That's the shortest way to say it. Sometimes people don't believe it, but I love hearing it from the mouth of users, like pages of ASINs that look great.
Right. And it took time and it took a lot of work to get there. Certainly. At the beginning, it definitely was, okay, I would like to spend $200. What's the best way to spend that? And you know what? I'm only going to spend $100 this week because I didn't at that point have 40,000 leads.
Yeah,
I was just getting started. But now, I mean, finally, after, like I said, it takes time, it takes work, at first, I would stare at Keepa and reference my notes. And now really I can glance at it. I've got a few things I look for. It takes a couple seconds. But 3P Mercury is kind of the hub for that whole process, because then as I find the things, okay, this looks good today, I'll come back to it. So you throw it in the cart, the 3P Mercury cart. And later on, I go to that cart and decide, okay, these are going to go onto purchase orders. And those are the things I'm going to buy today. So it just makes the whole process centralized. And if I get called away, if I get distracted, I work from home. So, I need to go change the laundry. When I sit back down, it's still there.
Yeah,
what I was doing. Yeah.
Step away from it, come back to it.
Yep, exactly.
Really systemized. And I am so excited that we're going to have shipping functionality.
I was just going to say that. Yep. Yeah, because that's the piece that I then kind of have to pull out of 3P Mercury to do the shipping piece. So I'm excited to see how that's going to work and how much more time it's going to save me. I kept telling Kang on the Facebook group when he would say, okay, we added this feature, we added that feature. I was like, this saved me so many clicks. This has saved me so many clicks. This has saved me so many clicks, because it really, every improvement is shaving time then off of all those processes that we do pretty much every day.
Yeah, it gets us closer and closer to that point where, the vision we have is you're trained on the basic strategies, and there's many strategies, many ways to succeed as an Amazon reseller or seller in general. But once you've got your strategy and you've got several hours of training, it's something that you can dial into a process that you hand to someone else to manage for you, and you just kind of monitor the numbers. And let it go. Keep adding ASINs and keep making whatever the best decisions are for you based on your unique ungating scenarios or brands that you're in or wholesalers you're connected to, whatever. But so it's going to be a unique experience for everyone, but it's going to be a very dialed in, systemized. You can hand it to someone you trust to run. And what I'm even more excited about is it's a sellable asset. You've built something that you could finally conceivably sell to someone else as an asset. Like, here, this is the number of hours you work a week. Here's what you have to do. The software does the heavy lift. Here's what we made last year. It's a business that can be evaluated. As with, we go back to our eBay days. Nobody ever bought anybody's eBay business. Like,
that is true.
Death pile in your garage. What am I going to do with that? I don't want to go to yard sales all day, every day. What are you going to teach me how to go to yard sales? But this is an asset. It's a database of ASINs that you're uniquely ungated in, and you've got maybe established wholesale relationships as you mature in the business, right? Or different sources that you've discovered, different discount strategies, gift card, whatever routines. But it can be taught to someone else and sold and handed off.
Absolutely.
So for that as well.
Yeah. The other thing I kind of skipped over is I took the Evergreen Sourcing course.
Mm.
And not only did I learn a lot about sourcing, the other thing that I learned from Jimmy Smith is SOPs. Now, obviously, I already knew what an SOP was, but his way of organizing and systemizing is really awesome. So I've got everything, all of the SOPs that he shares in that program. I've added tons of my own SOPs. Some of them are a little out of date, they need updated, but it's kind of my go-to to keep track of everything because it can become a lot. And also, when I'm at the point, which I'm nearing pretty rapidly, where I do need to hire other people to do these things, I've already got the instructions typed out. I've already got the links and the files and everything ready to go. So, and you mentioned having a sellable asset. I think the systems are a huge part of that, not just your inventory list or your leads or your buyer account, the value of that, but just how you do each step in the process is huge.
Yeah, I completely agree. And we continue to improve and simplify the
Mm-hmm.
processes. The number of things you had to learn if you'd started 5 years ago
Mm-hmm.
was probably 5 to 10 times what you now have to learn, because the software, like you said, it's doing so much of the heavy lifting. And some of the suggestions you've made, people who come along behind you and start, like we've reduced it to a button click, whereas you had used to have to take several steps. So
Right.
these processes continue to be simplified, thanks to input from the community. It's a community built tool.
Mm-hmm.
And what's exciting to me to think about is Amazon really is this whole reselling game. It's in its infancy. It's expanding so rapidly. Amazon's building warehouses like crazy, adding millions of new products like crazy. Like the sky is the limit. The future is so bright, and we have
Mm-hmm.
such a head start
Mm-hmm.
on the rest of the reselling world out there. So yeah, thank you for helping shape this tool and for using it and being creative. Your input, it's going to serve other people who come behind you. And you mentioned ESS. I'll stick a link to that in the show notes today. That's the Evergreen Sourcing System. I love the guarantee we give with that training. If you don't find, I think it's 2,500 unique viable ASINs. If you don't find 2,500 unique viable ASINs as a result of that training, we will sit down with you and source 2,500 viable
Mm-hmm.
ASINs. Like, we're so confident that you're going to be able to do this. So I'll stick a link to that in the show notes too. A great program. Yeah, Jimmy's a true asset, a real
Yes,
treasure. I don't know
absolutely.
if you knew this or not. You probably picked up on it, but he's the guy who systemized replens originally. This whole concept. He's like, hey, let's break this into steps
Mm-hmm.
and let's really build a system here. Like, he was a star student who brought value to the community, and now he's risen as one of the top trainers and leaders in our
Mm-hmm.
community as a result. Yeah, well, where else do you want to go? What else is on your mind, Heidi? This has been a true delight for me to get to know you and to hear your story. I think a lot of people are encouraged by what you're sharing as well. Maybe
Well,
what's your goal? That's a good thing for us to hit. Like, what's your goal for 2026?
sure. So, I think, and I should have no problem getting to $100,000 in sales. So I think that's my next goal is hitting that, nice round number, but also is not as exciting, but just making decisions, right? Like, where do I want to go? How much do I want to outsource? Like I said, how much am I going to have my grown kids involved? Because that's just a really cool thing to be able to do, is to employ the people that you love if they want to, if they're interested. Oh yeah, I think my goal is to kind of get my vision organized, if that makes sense. Because at this point, I feel like I've got the proof of concept and I understand what the possibilities are. So yes, I have some number goals, but I also just kind of have general what's next goals.
Yeah. And the nice thing is you can ease into any of this.
Mhm.
Like well, I'll just ask you this. Was there any point in this journey that felt like a big, scary leap off of a cliff? I hope it works out someday. Did anything feel like that? Or was it more like an easing into making a series of small decisions? So, break that down for me.
Yeah, so I think a little bit of both. As I mentioned last year, I was pretty tentative, both because I was still running the other business and because even though I had a little taste of the proof of concept, I still kind of thought, well, I'm not really sure, this feels like it might be a fluke. I was only spending a couple $100s a week on inventory, which was a risk, don't get me wrong, but it didn't feel as risky as, tying up thousands and thousands of dollars. So when I then made that conscious decision at the beginning of this year that I was going to increase my spend every week by a couple hundred more dollars, which eventually gets to be pretty big numbers. There were some moments when I was like, hold on a minute. This is a little bit scary. This is a risk.
Which got a lot of inventory sitting out there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, all business is risk. And you have some personalities are entrepreneurial and some aren't. I tease my husband. He's whatever the opposite of an entrepreneur is, that's him. He has a corporate job and he takes risks, but it's with someone else's money. It's a whole different mindset. But yeah, there were times when I felt like, am I crazy? Is this crazy? I keep pouring more money into this. But every time, because I have a background in administration, I know how to do the bookkeeping. So when I would take the time to get caught up and look at the numbers, no, I'm making money. It's a good investment. But as the numbers get bigger, it does get a little bit scary. And I think that's just human nature.
Yeah, it is for sure. And the return on investment of this business model is unlike anything that I've seen in any other industry, especially when you consider you can ease into it at your own pace.
Right.
I love dealing with and talking to other people who have been in real estate or own their own business and just understand, maybe they owned a franchise or something, and they put it into context, this business model versus that.
Mm-hmm.
The ability to have such an extreme level of confidence, like, let's say you go spend $5,000 in one shot on inventory that you're relatively confident about. Your worst case scenario is you get that $5,000 back and you didn't really make anything. Or maybe it's $4,900. Maybe you lose.
Right.
Losing a little is your worst case scenario. Your upside is you got $10,000 to show for it after you sell it for 30.
Right.
That's your upside. It's like, wow, I could step on the gas here safely and confidently. And it becomes more, as you grow, it becomes more of a cash flow thing. Like how quickly can I get this money back? Not is it going to be profitable or not, but how quickly can I get it back so I can go buy more?
Yes.
That's the game played at scale.
Yes.
And that's when you talk to the multiple seven-figure sellers, they're always looking for ways to get that money a little quicker, turn their inventory a little faster. It's not a concern whether it's profitable or not. It's how do I spin the wheel a little faster so I'm not waiting 90 days to get it or 60 days. I'm getting it in 30. Faster moving products, maybe at lower margins. And that's the game at scale. But the way you've played it so far, the confidence level you have, you're positioned so well to go so many different directions, to diversify and you've got a teacher's heart. It's obvious. Anyone who's done HR work of any kind understands human nature, and you'd be a huge asset, I think, around here to some of the things we have going on. So that's just another opportunity for you that's kind of waiting in the wings.
Oh, well, thank you. That's good to hear. I have a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like, I know enough to keep going. I don't know yet that I could call myself any sort of an expert. Well, however, when I look at
after 24 years, I have imposter syndrome constantly. I've been the keynote speaker in front of large groups of people and talking e-commerce, and I'm like, I'm sure there's hundreds of people that are more qualified than me to be talking right now. And I've been doing this 24 years. I mean, there's always going to be so much you don't know, but being a part of the community, and as long as you're willing to only speak with confidence to the things you're truly confident about, you'll be a huge asset. You don't have to make it up or impress anyone. You've achieved something that the vast majority of business owners never will, and that's you've run a profitable business over a sustained period of time. Most businesses never get there. This business model makes it possible for more people than anything I've ever seen, but it's still an achievement.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, you've got a lot to offer already, but it's only going to get better.
And the cool thing about e-commerce is, and I see some people, it's interesting to watch some of the people who haven't been in business before, is they're kind of getting their feet wet and doing the math. And they're like, well, wait a minute, I'm only making, 15, 20% margin. And I'm over here going, hold on, do you realize normal retail is usually like, I think 10%. That's a very good margin.
Walmart runs on like 2 or 3%.
Yes, that's a very good margin.
2 or 3%, right?
Right.
And they're spending millions and taking home 2 or 3 net. That's most businesses.
Right.
So, yeah, this like 10, 20, we had a guest on here recently. He had just hit 100,000, 30% net, 100,000. So he
That's
spent about
amazing.
30,000 on inventory, sold it for 100, kept 30 once it was all said and done, turned 30 into 60,
Mm-hmm.
over the course of a year. Just incredible job
Right.
that we
Yeah.
see over and over and over and over again in this community. If you're picking your inventory the way that we teach, using caution and not being so cautious, one of the mistakes that we see, and I wonder if you made this mistake early on, Heidi, is, and I'd be curious to ask you this, how many of your products are selling at prices above buy box, above what other sellers are selling their inventory for? But you start thinking, oh no, well, the buy box is too low. That's not profitable. You get kind of stuck in that mentality. Talk me through your journey on that. Like, how do you
Sure.
price your stuff? What do you do when you're looking at buy box? How do you make those decisions?
Sure. So, I mean, I have to be honest, in the very beginning, that, everything's gated mentality, it was, what am I allowed to sell that I can maybe break even-ish?
Mhm.
And then once you kind of get those first several sales under your belt and you start to, first of all, find and figure out how to find more things to sell. And then Amazon starts ungating you and things, those kind of start happening at the same time. Then you can be a little bit more, I wouldn't really say picky, but strategic about how you're going to source and also how you're going to price. So I have heard you say so many times, above the buy box, above the buy box, above the buy box. So I kind of believed that from the very beginning. I do use Aura Repricer, and I've got mine set up so that it does not chase the buy box,
Right.
because if nothing else, what you teach about the fact that my buy box is different than the one in California, different than the one on the East Coast.
Right.
You can't focus on the price that you would get if you bought it, because that's not the price for everyone. And that's not the availability time and the shipping time for everyone. So if I see especially other sellers priced way higher than the buy box, I'm thinking, oh, there's probably a very good reason for that. So yeah, I'm happy to price above the buy box. And I tell, again, my repricer is set up to not chase the buy box and to not try and aggressively keep lowering the price to compete with somebody else. I'm okay for it to stay there, for a minute to see, what the price is going to do.
Sure. So you start high and then
Mm-hmm.
lower it over
Yeah.
after what, 30 or 60 days, or how have you set it up?
Yeah, so it seems like everyone, or kind of the common wisdom, is 30 days, and I've been doing 60, just because, especially in the beginning, it took so long for my inventory to get, and I think part of it is when I kind of started ramping up. It was heading into Q4. So it was taking so long for Amazon to get my boxes, open them, get my stuff on the shelf to be sold, that I felt like 30 days wasn't really long enough to keep the price high. So when I was testing, I was like, okay, 45 days. And I ended up landing at, I'm going to keep the price high for about 60 days. And then the repricer gets more aggressive about lowering the price, and then eventually doing like a liquidation kind of a thing with some of the really bad buys I made in the beginning before I knew what I was doing.
Yeah, I love that strategy. That mirrors pretty close to what we do online. And look for those opportunities where the buy box is all over the place, and go in high and wait.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Yeah.
a week. It's not even on the shelf yet. That's one of the things we see new sellers do all the time, is they start panicking after a week or two. It's like, oh, other people are selling it cheaper. I'm not getting any sales. Well, it's not even sitting on a shelf yet. Let it sit on a shelf where it's 20 minutes away from one of the customers.
Mm-hmm.
They'll snag it at that high price and be grateful for it because of the speed and convenience you've created. I've been saying a lot lately, Heidi, just trying to make this lesson as clean as I can. You have to decide who you want to sell to. Do you want to sell to the goodwill shoppers who are willing to wait 3 weeks to save a quarter? They'll drive across town to save 10 cents on a gallon of gas. You want to sell to them? They're out there. I think they're about 60% of the shoppers on Amazon. Or do you want to sell to the 40% that say, I don't care what the price is. I want the fastest option. And if there's not one in the warehouse near me, I'm not going to use Amazon. If there is one in the warehouse near me, I'll pay $30 for an item that I know is $12 at Walmart, but I don't want to go to Walmart right now. I want that customer.
Yeah.
And there's millions of them. Sell to them. How do you sell to them? You put your prices high on popular products that just aren't stocked adequately. Amazon has hundreds of warehouses. It's not rocket science. So it sounds like you're doing some of that. If you had to estimate what percent, I like asking students this lately, and maybe this is a hard number for you to pull off the top of your head, but if you just had to guess, what percentage of your sales are happening at prices well above what other competitors are charging? What percentage of your sales? In other words, winning the buy box versus selling above buy box, if you had to break it down.
Yeah, and then because the repricer is doing it automatically, I haven't really studied it, but I mean, on my gut, I would say more than half.
Yeah, I hear that frequently. I'm hearing 70, 80% more than half. Yeah, where you've got competitors priced cheaper than you, but the shopper is in a hurry. They don't want to wait 3 days to save $6.
Right, exactly.
Unit that's in a warehouse near them, and they'll pay. Right.
Yeah. And then being willing to pay $5 extra is the difference between a 20% ROI and a 60% ROI, depending on the product and where it was priced. Yeah.
Hey, you stack a nice catalog of products like that, and suddenly millions of ASINs make sense to be tracked and to be sold a handful at a time. What's the most you've bought of anything? That's a good question for you. What's the most units you've bought of anything so far?
At one time? So if something I know is a great seller and I'm selling it over and over, I'll buy 12. That's kind of my top. I'll buy 12 at a time. Now I might buy 12 a week, but I only buy it after looking and making sure everything is still the way it looked last week, and then I'll buy 10 or 12 more.
I love that. You've diversified your risk. And I try to talk sellers all the time out of going too deep, too hard, too fast after one product they fall in love with. There was even a post in our Facebook group. Somebody said, I think I want to go after trying to buy all the units in existence of this hard to get product. And I'm like, please don't. He's going to get ready to buy 350 units from every available source. And literally the next day in the same discussion, he says, oh, well, another seller just hopped on and he's priced way lower than me. Like, there's always more units out there somewhere.
Right.
Inch deep, mile wide. That's how you eliminate the risk from this game. Don't overcommit to any one product. So you've got 40,000 products in your 3P Mercury database. How many of them have you purchased and sold, would you estimate?
I looked this morning, and I've tested about 500 total.
That's outstanding.
So I haven't even scratched the surface of what I've imported yet.
Yeah, and you've got page after page of other winners. You're not spending your money aggressively enough to go after them yet, but you will be eventually.
Yep.
It's a good place to be, where you're turning $1 into $2, and you're just kind of saying, how fast do I want to step on the gas? I mean, that's what you've built. Congratulations.
Yep. Thank you.
That's excellent. Well, what else is on your mind? Anything else you're wanting to ask me, or any of the topics that you were hoping to dive into a little bit today? You've been very generous with your time. I appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate the opportunity. I kind of felt like I wasn't sure I had anything anything new to say, but I do think there's value in repetition. And at the risk of sounding like a commercial, I really do highly recommend for brand new people, do Kickstart. It really helps you get past those initial baby steps with the hand holding, because Robin Joy does a great job. If you can fit it into your budget, some form of coaching is so helpful, because again, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. It's been invented. And just that, the relationships and the networking, and like having the ability, I know who to ask about this, I know who to ask about that, because I know who's the expert in each of those things, is absolutely priceless. So kind of getting an answer and moving forward, instead of spending 3 days in a rabbit hole, getting conflicting information from some questionable source is not a good use of my time. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the main thing, is that I still feel like a newbie, but the amount that I've learned over the past year is kind of astounding, because it's been almost exactly a year since last year's conference.
Right. Well, I appreciate the glowing report about our coaching and our training programs, and we take it very seriously. The goal that I had over 20 years ago was I wanted to be in a community of other people of integrity, of an abundance mindset, who wanted to use the internet creatively to launch and grow multiple income streams. That was the goal, and it remains the goal. And this is what's this is what's been produced from that. Just surrounding with, I stopped being the smartest guy in the room about 22 years ago, and just love surrounding myself with people that, you pointed this out, different specializations, different areas of expertise, different things they bring to the table. So it's not about, oh, who's the expert? I just want to go learn from them. No, it's a community. It's a culture that's been built here, and you're contributing to it at this point. This podcast episode is going to be the encouragement that resonates with someone. They've heard me say this maybe 15 times, but they hear you say it, like, all right, I like Heidi. I get it. Yeah, she's speaking my language. I can relate to her. I think we could give this a shot. And that encouragement could change the course of their family's financial future. So
Sure.
you're pouring into this community already in significant ways. And I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Excellent episode. Well, for those who listened to Heidi and I today and hung out and thought to yourself, oh, that was pretty cool. I wish they had more episodes like that. We do. Good news. I've been doing this podcast since 2016. We've got 1,100 plus episodes. If you scroll back in time, you're going to hear dozens of recent students of our training and coaching, and you're going to hear hundreds if you scroll back far enough, along with a lot of other training and specific details on how to do the business. And we love Amazon reselling, but we also talk about a lot of other stuff. So just jump into the podcast, scroll back in time, hear us kicking around ideas. And Heidi, one more time, thank you. You were a fantastic guest. Allow me to make an observation. Every time I hear a guest say, I don't really know that I have a lot to offer, those are the best episodes consistently. The ones that come to me and say, hey, I got to do a podcast with you. I got a lot of stuff I think I need to share. Those tend to be the ones that I kind of find myself saying, oh, that wasn't really all that much there. But when they come in a little nervous and say, I don't know that I got anything, they're just the best. And you were a great episode today. It's going to be a lot of people's favorite. You're going to hear from some people and make some new friends, I hope. And
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
thanks for being a part of the show. Good timing coming up with the conference too. You get people like, oh, I saw you on the podcast. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
it's good timing to be right there in the front end of a month or so from our conference. And speaking of which, I'll probably wrap up here for the listeners, but the Proven Conference, come meet Heidi, dozens of other guests you've heard on the podcast, our coaching team. Come to Vegas with us the 25th, 26th, and 27th of August, 2026. If money is an issue, we've got scholarships. We want you there. Come experience this incredible event. All the details are at theprovenconference.com. We'd love to meet you in person. Let's wrap up there. Thanks for being our guest today, Heidi, and for the listeners who make this show what it is. It wouldn't be here without you. Thanks so much. The only favor we ask in return is leave us a review, thumbs up, 5-star, depending on the app you use, that kind of thing. Spread the word. We don't do any marketing for this show besides what you guys do as listeners. So thank you for that. We'll have more great episodes for you very soon. We'll talk to you then. Hey, thanks for joining us today. I've got one last announcement. It's a thank you to our sponsor today, Seller Board. You can find them at silentjimdotcom/numbers. Hey, seller, if you want to know your true profits, Seller Board tracks every fee, refund, the shifting cost of goods, plus a full reseller workflow. Everything from scanning in store to shipping your FBA shipments. Pricing starts as little as $15. And if you use the link I gave you, you get 2 months of a free trial. Get started at silentjim.com/numbers. Thanks for listening today. We'll have another great episode for you very soon.